All right, what's up, everyone? With the release of Ashes of Creation to early access on Steam, I thought I'd make a first impressions video, let you all know what my thoughts are. Um, Maybe give you some insight as to whether or not you want to buy the game. For those that may not know, I this is my first time playing the game. I never played any of the other alpha access, early access, whatever. Um, I just wasn't going to pay that much to play the game that early on. So this is my first time going through it. I think it's worth noting. It's going to kind of play into my thoughts and everything later on. What I've done so far, if I open up Steam right here, pull this across so you guys can see, 16.3 hours. Now, it's worth noting half of that, probably 8 hours, was me the first day sitting in the launcher trying to get into the game. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second and kind of my disappointment to that, but nonetheless. So 16 hours, half of that was trying to get into the game, half of that was me playing, actually playing the game. So I played about 4 hours on a fighter, and then I ran into some quest issues, so I went ahead and just re-rolled to a bard. So I just keep on playing and kind of feeling it out and just get a sense of what another class looks like. So jumping straight into this, let's talk about the early access issues. Um, my personal belief on this is I think it's stupid to be charging people to test your game for you. I have a lot of issues with that. Um, However, that being said, I may be ignorant to what it costs to run these servers. I mean, there was certainly, I think there was like 30,000 peak players playing these servers. So maybe that's just me being ignorant to what is actually needed to run these servers. Like when the early access was like $200 to $100, that seems a bit absurd to me. I was willing to pay the $50 to get on here and try it out for everyone, but I still think it's a bit ridiculous to have people pay to test your product for you and give you feedback. Again, I may just be ignorant of the cost though. So we'll leave it at that. Um, my next irk with the game was the game launch issues. Now, like I said earlier, I had 8 hours trying to get into the game. Um, as I understand it, the servers were just fine. There was a couple issues I saw throughout Discord the first day. They were up and they were up and then they'd be down here and there. But for the most part, it seems like the servers handled the player count very well. The issue was the website. Now, what happened was anyone who had access to Ashes of Creation before the Steam release, they could link their Steam and Ashes of Creation account and beforehand, and then they were able to just jump straight into the game. Um, I don't think this was the case for people who hadn't played and just purchased it through Steam. This was at least for me. I purchased it, right? Downloaded it, no issues. Went to log in through the launcher, and Steam forced me to link my account to my Ashes of Creation account, which is fine. But what happened was they had a flow of probably 30,000 people on their website, which just completely crashed their website. Um, I don't know who missed this or whatnot. I don't know if this is like a Steam issue. I mean, to be fair, maybe they just didn't think about it. They said they didn't think about it, right? But it sucked. It's just like a horrible first impression when I spent 8 hours trying to get into the game. Don't get to play it the first day. So it's worth noting. They have since fixed it. I obviously got in. It seems much better, so I'll give them that credit. And just to add to that, they communicated well enough. I think. I think that's fair. So we'll leave that there. Okay, one more issue here is the cash shop. Now, this game is not pay to win. Let me be straight up front about that. This is early access, so who cares, right? But they have always said they don't want it to be pay to win, and I think I believe that'll be the case. Um, I think it's stupid to have a cash shop in an early access and try to just like get money out of people. Like don't spend time developing this bullshit. Like why the fuck is this here? Right? Spend time developing the game. you get like cosmetics are great and everything, but like that's not what you should be doing in early access. Add that shit after the fact. Like people will spend money on your game later down the road. I mean, you're already getting people to spend money to play early access. Like just do this later. It looks really bad when you're throwing in a cash shop on an early access just to try to get more money out of people, right? You're already facing allegations of not having enough money, already being a cash grab, already being a scam, and then you throw this in, it just looks really bad. So, okay, moving on to the game itself, actually talking about, the mechanics and everything that's going on here. So, uh, let's talk about the graphics. The graphics are okay. I think it's UE5. Um, I'm running everything on medium right now. I was having issues streaming, streaming to multiple places, recording and running the game on high. It just wasn't quite working for me. And I mean, my PC's nothing special, but it's all right. So I was having issues with that. So I'm running on medium, and the game looks okay. I think, and this is coming from someone who's completely ignorant of game design and graphics and everything. I think the game looks okay. It feels like it could be a little bit more optimized. Um, but again, it's early access, so I understand like that shit comes later, right? But like I mean, looking around right here, like I mean, in the distance and everything, you see everything. It looks okay. I haven't like noticed like really bad pop up. Um, and I think it's worth noting, like on stream for some reason, or on recording, like when what you guys are seeing, it looks better than it does for me. I was like going back through and looking through like my recordings and everything, and like on a smaller screen, everything looks tight and looks good. But when I'm actually experiencing it live, like everything looks a little bit blurry. I think this is a UE5 issue or something. I play Arc Ascended, and they seem to have very similar issues uh, that this game has in terms of graphics. I might just be a UE5 thing, or maybe it's just my computer. I don't know. Um, they, the one other irk I had, and I'll put a clip in here. I think, but they had issues with the day-night cycle. Now I don't know if the day-night cycle is new, as in new for just this run for the early access in Steam, or if they've had it previously. What happens is during the day-night cycle, when it changes from night to day, it gets super bright and it's awful, right? It's super saturated. Now, just this morning when I was playing, there was a message that popped up from a GM or someone. Hey, we're working on this. We think we found a fix, which is great. That they found a fix. It's really cool. If it would make sense to me that maybe this was a new feature and they just found a fix. But if it's been around for a while, that's a little weird. But worth noting. It's good to see that type of stuff, and they're actually working on it. So, let's talk about combat real quick. So, the combat is slower but impactful. I've played a fighter, and I'm on my bard right now. The fighter combat felt better. For both classes so far, it seems the earlier levels are pretty rough. It's pretty slow. It's really slow, and you only really have an auto attack and like a couple skills. When I got my fighters for the level, I think I got them up to like level 7 or 8. I started getting a couple more skills, and I understood like, oh, this changed into this. Like for my fighter, you had a skill that would cause bleed, and then you had a skill that would call hemorrhage, and then you had a skill that if they were hemorrhaging, it did more damage. So you obviously see like the intended chains, which is cool. But it all feels very impactful, and like coming from like my background with Black Desert and everything, and like these really flashy combats, which by the way I love. It's nice to actually slow it down and like and play a game with a little bit more thought. I think PvP is going to feel really good. Adding to that, the class identities feel really good. Again, I've only played two classes, fighter and bard. Very, very separate identities, but strong identities. So I think that's good when they get the secondary archetype. So for those that might not know, you have like a main archetype and then you have a secondary, which like so there's like I think there's like 8 in total, whatever. You can your secondary can be uh that your class, or it could be one of another. So I could be like a bard and my secondary could be like mage or whatnot. And I think like they haven't developed this, but like when they do, I think it's gonna be really good for the classes. So we'll see. Again, I'm gonna do another a review later on, talking, when I reach 50, 100 hours end game, whatever, just to give you guys a better understanding whatever how everything looks. But as of right now, I think the classes and the combat feel pretty good. Um, so I'll leave that there. Map and overall impressions. So where do I want to start here? Let's talk about the map itself. The map is fucking huge. Like this is the area right here that I started out in, and like that alone felt big, and then you branch out either this way or this way, um, and it takes forever to travel. And I actually really like this. On top of that, like the world feels really dangerous. So like your mounts and everything, like you're pretty slow. You can't just run away from every mob. Like there's wolves, and if you run into higher level wolves, you're kind of fucked. Like they're gonna catch you and they're gonna kill you. So it makes the world feel really dangerous, which I like. Um, However, the quest design around this is not well done. So, for example, you have a lot of low level quests that take you to high level areas, which I understand why they do this. They want you to see, like, hey, the world's dangerous, blah, 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 blah. However, the objectives of those quests are often surrounded by high level mobs that you just can't deal with. For example, like I was doing a level 5 quest and there was like, or maybe I think it was like level 6, and there's level 10 mobs around, and I had to kill them. Like either, fix that. That's rough, right? It just it's hard, um, and it slows down progression. And it doesn't feel good. I understand being in areas where you have to like be careful and maneuver around mobs, but you can't have a level 6 quest require you to kill level 10 mobs, right? I understand the game wants you to group up, but I don't think that's the best way to go about it. Okay, so talking about the tag system, I dislike the tag system. And this may be a hot take coming from someone who has most of his time in like Guild Wars 2, for example. I'm used to you tag it and like everyone gets experience, everyone gets their own loot reward, blah 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 blah. I like that. It just feels better. I hate this old school tagging system. Um, However, I understand the need for it to encourage PvP, right? So let's talk about that for a second. So let's say you're in a dungeon and your group is tagging these mobs, right? So your group is getting the rewards, and another group comes in. If you made it to where anyone could tag mobs and like get experience and their own loot, then there would be no reason to have like conflict, in my opinion, right? There'd be no reason to kill these guys because you could just tag the mobs and get, everyone shares. So there is a really good reason to have their tag system, which is great, and I understand that. Now, for like open world events where you're encouraged and you're supposed to like work together with everyone, I think it's good to where like during those events alone, you should make it to where everyone gets like XP, or you can be a part of that event as long as you tag the mobs, right? This can encourage everyone to kind of work together. You don't have to party, just like Guild Wars 2, right? If you ever done the open world events, everyone just works together. You don't have to party up or get in a squad to do it. You just work together, and it works out. So I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of touching up they could do on that. And maybe that's just my personal opinion on it. Well, that is what it is. So UI. So the UI, it's not horrible, right? You can move it around, access it very well. It's not horrible. I think it may need a little bit more refinement, but that's fine. This is early access, so we talked about that. One of my biggest gripes so far is like, for example, I don't have any. Let me see. I don't have any other equipment to show here, but like, let's say I have a piece of equipment here, like a spell book, and I already have one equipped. If I hover over that spell book, especially if I'm here, right, and I don't have this open, it should show like when it shows this right here, the rancid cheese, it should show next to it what I have equipped and compare the two for me. That'd be really nice and really helpful. Instead, if I get a new item, I have to look here, and then I have to look over here, and then I have to look here, and then I have to look over here. Okay, what's the difference? Is this one better? Um, just show it right next to it, make it easy. That way you don't have to open up your character sheet and everything. You could just look at it here. Okay, that's better, and then equipped it. Whatever. Small little gripe. I understand that, but it's worth noting. Okay, my last issue: new player experience seems really rough. Again, this is coming from someone who hasn't played the game before. This, this is me going straight into it. The questing feels rough. Now I don't know if this is by design, right? So it seems like the directors of Ashes of Creation have talked a lot about how they want you to kind of forge your own path and do what you want to do in the game. Now, that being said, when I go to do like the main story quest, I think right now the main story quest is supposed to get to you to like roughly level 10, and then like the rest of the end game is just you grinding, which again, it's fine, it's early access, blah 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 blah. But like a lot of the quests feel awful to do. Like the sequencing in your levels doesn't feel good. The first time I went through, like I was always a level behind, which granted, maybe I'm missing something. I did find out later on that there's like a commission board that you could do these little side quests and stuff. So that would help with that. However, there's a couple bug quests, like I had to kill someone and then like search them. And I looked in the Discord, a lot of other people had a lot of issues with that quest. Anytime you have to tag and kill an enemy, like this is what I'm talking about, is like when you have an like servers just launching, there's a bunch of people trying to kill this one specific mob, and only the one person or party that tags it first gets it. It's really inconvenient. All right, right. This is where I'm talking about the tagging system. It'd be best if we can all just tag it, and like it at the very least, it counts for your quests. I don't care about the fucking loot when I'm level 5, right? Like, just give me the quest so I can move on. It's really frustrating when you're stuck at one quest for 2 hours just to tag this one mob or search this one mob's body because it's bugging out or whatever, right? That's really, unfortunate. So, again, I don't know. I'm sure that like the bugs are not by design. Obviously, those are bugs, but like you got to have a good progression with your quests. There's no like single quest that's guiding me through. That is the part where I'm not sure if it's by design. Me coming from Guild Wars 2, again, that's like my biggest thing, is like I had a main story quest. I knew what I was following. And if that's not the design path they want to take, that's fine. I understand that. But at the very least, you got to make it to where going through these quests, or like even if there's a shitload of people around, you got to have a path forward. I don't know if they can change the tagging system for separate areas. I don't know. Again, that's a game design problem. Like that's just not my field of expertise. But I think it's worth noting, right? Give them this feedback, and hopefully they can find a way to fix it. So, um, overall though, like it's not horrible. Would I spend $50 to play this game if I wasn't reviewing it for you guys? No, I don't think I would. I wouldn't encourage everyone to. Like, it's not everyone's cup of tea. A lot of people are going to get angry because it's not a fleshed out game, right? And Ashes of Creation's producers, like or directors, they've all made it very clear, like, hey, this, you're not buying a real game, blah blah blah. Like, this is early access for a reason. So, if you're not okay with struggling through that, like as I've talked about, don't buy it. It's fine. You guys can wait later on when the game is feeling much better, when they have better systems, everything's a little bit more fleshed out. Buy it then, and do your own thing, right? So, I will be doing more videos later on down the road. I'm gonna continue to level my characters to max level. I want to see what the end game looks like. I want to see how annoying it is to grind from level 10 to, I think it's like 20 or 25 for max level. Show you guys some PvP, get into a guild, show you guys about these settlements and everything. There's still a lot I have to explore. Um, so more videos will be coming, and I'll see what I can do for you. So, and once again, if you guys are enjoying any of this content, if you can like or subscribe, it really helps out, and I'll continue getting these videos out to you. So, thank you.